Hi, welcome to Healing Humanity. My name is Dina, and I want to talk to you today about secret angels. So, a lot of people have asked lately, like, how are you getting through everything that you're going through, and how have you been able to survive it all, and how do you stay positive, mostly positive? Well, I have my moments. Don't get me wrong. There's nights where I'm crying. There's times where I'm feeling enormously stressed out. Um, but at the end of the day, what keeps me going is the iron in my life, the secret angels in my life, the people that I know are holding space for me, that love me, that support, um, wanting to try to do the right thing in my life. In Proverbs 27:17, it says, "As iron sharpens iron, so no, so one person sharpens another." Let me do that again. So as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another, and that's what's kept me going. 100%. That's what's kept me going. Um, there are people in my life, and this is going to seem strange, but it's 100% true. There are people in my life or are aware of my life that I've honestly never met. I can think of some that I've hoped to meet. I have you can think of some that I have met that I want to be friends with, but I'm not friends with. I can think of people that have just crossed my path that there was a connection, there was a deep connection with them, and I know that they're still there. I get signs, I get synchronicities that tell me that they are still there. And I know that that doesn't seem real. That doesn't seem like it's normal. Well, it's probably not normal. But it's normal if you prepare yourself to receive those kinds of things, to receive God's messages, to receive um, the magic that's within this world, the goodness that's within this world. Because that's the thing that's going to keep you going. That's what keeps me going. I couldn't do this on my own. There's no way. I mean, I'm not lying when I said you are fighting one battle, but I am fighting over 17 battles. That is not an exaggeration. I have had so much opposition, so much negativity, so much just ugliness from people who love to pass judgment rather than open a conversation. People who love to sit behind a keyboard and state whatever they want to state, but never say anything to your face, right? A lot of that going on. And the thing is that the ones that are wise enough, the ones that are awake enough, I know are there. And I don't have to worry because I put my trust in the people that love me. I put my trust and my strength sometimes in their hands because sometimes I can't do it on my own. You know, God is there. He's working with them and through them, and that's how it goes. God cannot do everything for us. So he hopes that others will help, right? So he can put things on people's hearts. He can give them messages, give them direction. And if they listen, great. Then things come together and they work really well. If people don't listen, then that's when things get a little, messed up, But that's what keeps me. That's what's been keeping me going. None of us do this life all on our own. It may appear that we do. It may appear that there's nobody standing next to you or nobody, holding your hand or nobody, you know, um, supporting you or whatever. But really, at the end of the day, when you start looking at the signs, when you start listening to the words, the true words of what people are sharing with you, when you when you realize the synchronicities that occur, you cannot deny that there are people that are so caring and so giving and so full of agape, which is, the friendly love. And that's what this world needs. I know that's what's kept me going. That's what I've needed, you know. And I just ask you, um, what are some of the ways that you're allowing how are your relationships being used to sharpen you or your life, right? How are they being strategically um, used to help you, to push you along? Because when I look back, and I've mentioned this before, as I look back over my entire life, there have been numerous things that have happened that I could not have gotten through had I not gone through things I went through when I was a kid. Um, it all seems to be, I can't say related, but it seems to be a system, a process. And when you prepare yourself, you prepare your body, you prepare your mind, you prepare your soul, you can start receiving those realizations, those messages. You will understand that even though someone is not walking by your side, holding your hand, kissing your lips, they are there. They are fully there, supporting and loving and pushing and trying to be that iron to sharpen your iron in your life. And we all need that. We all need people who are just simply good people. And they are not always easy to find. And at times it's easy to think that, it's easy to turn negative, right? Your thoughts, because your thoughts are automatic. You have to be able to control those, because your brain is used to thinking that, people might be against me, or this bad might be happening, whatever. I mean, especially if you're used to things not going quite right. But when you start to have those thoughts and you are awake enough to realize what God's doing in your life, you start to see the signs and synchronicities. You start to realize the conversations that truly matter, and you are able to turn that negativity in your mind around. You're able to choose your thoughts, and when you get to that point, the negativity, the ugliness, the evil that's out here, it cannot affect you. I mean, it can momentarily, but ultimately, it won't matter at all, and that's what people don't understand, is when you finally get to the point where you're rising up, and you are working on yourself, and you're working on your soul, you're working on your mind and your body. It's a process, and when you start to master that process, you start to realize the goodness that people are bringing to your life, even if they're not standing right next to you. And that's so important, because that's where true gratitude and true appreciation for your fellow human being comes into play. That's where the true love comes in. And I have been told over and over again that love wins always. And I may have argued a time or two, stubbornly, that that's not true, but I think it is. I think at the end of the day, that evil cannot prevail above the love that people can have for one another. It's just not possible, right? So I guess I would say, the first step is to start working on yourself. Start realizing what you need to do to shift your body, your mind, your soul, and start to open your mind up to to things that are new in your life, people that are new, new conversations. Absorb honesty from people that come into your life. They may be a friend, they may be somebody who's actually against you but is posing as a friend, but they may share honest truths with you that you might need to absorb and process through, right? You might have to say to yourself, is what that person said true? Is it somewhat true? Is it very true? Is it just a little bit true? And if it is, if it's in any way, shape true and something that needs to be changed, then you can start working on that. And that self-realization, it brings peace after a while. It brings true peace to your soul, and that can't be bought. Not at all. And the friendships that you build through this process, and like I said, friendships that even if they are not standing next to you, even if you don't talk to them, there are people out here that will support you and love you, emotionally support you through thick and thin. And that's what you're going to need. So you've got to show your appreciation. You have to humble yourself enough to listen, and you have to humble yourself enough to acknowledge when those things happen and appreciate those things, and appreciate those people. Because I could not have done this all on my own. There's absolutely no way. There have been people all along my path, some very bad and some very, very good. And like I said, some I still talk to, some I don't talk to at all. Some I have never even met, if you can believe it, that I know are supporting me through the signs and synchronicities that I have in my life. I know that they are there somewhere in the background, and that just fills my heart. So I would just say, start opening yourself up to new information, to start looking at yourself, like, what are the things that need to change in your life, and how can you do that? What do you need to do to change? It's never easy to look at ourselves, but it's definitely worth it. And remember the people that, even, like I said, even if you feel like they're not there for you, even if on the surface it looks like they have turned their back on you, watch for the signs. Watch for the information that crosses your path that you go, could that have been that person? Like, is that related? Because the more you see those signs, the more you realize that there are people who, like I said, you have never met and are still there for you and support you and love you, and will be there with you in the end. So that's love.